The American people are waking up. Hello, this is Carrie O'Donnell from Tarot Soul Writer. And if you would like a personal reading with me, please go to my website, tarotsoulwriter.com, and I'd be happy to do a reading for you. So today I'm going to do the forecast for July 2024. This is an overview, and I got some interesting things. The first thing I want to say is I know that there is a Republican convention in July. Fact. So I think I went in with some preconceived ideas that I would be getting information about how the Republican Party was branding itself, or the messages that were coming out during this time might have a Republican twist to it. But I wasn't getting that. So I feel like either one or two things are happening. Either the Republican Party is putting out a message that the American public isn't really hearing during this time. It doesn't seem relevant, and that's why it's not coming through. Or because I saw a split in the Republican Party earlier, the new Republican Party is dealing with the issues that the American people are really interested in hearing about. So the first thing that I'm getting is money. Money and the economy are going to be huge issues that will be discussed. And I feel not only are things about money coming up in the news, but I feel like issues around money and corruption with money and where our economy is going and the future of America with trading, all of these issues are going to be in the forefront in July. I wrote, money is a huge theme for July. The United States as a whole is doing well financially. So there's going to be a little bit of an upturn in the economy, something that people are really feeling. The focus will now be on how we can improve the economy here at home. I actually heard the words, keep it close to home. So I'm wondering if even the Republicans are feeling like, okay, we need to start to focus on home issues, things that are going on with the people, winning the people back. Discussion of money and the economy, especially with the Dems and remaining Republicans, will be a big thing around election campaigning. How can we recover what was lost? I'm hearing this as if it was a talking point. It will be clear by July how much money was wasted, how many resources were only used by the rich, and we are going to see financial corruption at its highest level. It will all be public. It's going to be out there. People are going to know. The American people are waking up, and they're seeing with clarity the realities of our economy post-COVID. So instead of saying things like, oh, Trump did this or Biden did that, I think there's going to be a general understanding in the collective, oh, this is what happened to our economy because of COVID. And this is what we need to do in a post-COVID economy to continue the recovery. We must begin engaging with the world again. Meeting, trading, negotiating. And I feel like this is a message that's going to go out to the people. And I also feel that China is going to be part of this. I get new trade deals and ongoing talks about money. Now, if I put this together with what I had gotten previously, we know there is some downfall with Russia and Russia leadership. We are also seeing a downfall with Trump. So it seems clear that we need to go on a different path at this point. And I feel China knows which way their bread is buttered. They are more interested in their economy and growing their economy than they are about going to war. We are coming back from the hardships of COVID. We can do more. People want to believe we can, but they distrust the government. They are afraid. They are anxious. Before we can look to the future, we must face the past. But it is hard to look back. Throughout my soul writing sessions, I keep getting words like what I had literally just read that almost feel like pieces of a speech. And I keep getting this vision of Biden giving a speech, or maybe these are little sound bites or little moments that are coming forward in the news. But I almost feel like this is the message being given to the American people by its leadership. The other topic that will be hot in July will be education, teachers, and what they're going through. And also issues with student loans. Once again, it's going to pop up. We're seeing that Biden's finding other ways to actually cancel student loans. And I feel like there will be a new wave of this in July. I wrote, "Help is coming. We can help the next generation through this trauma. Education is a huge focus right now and in the campaign. There is an offer of practical material assistance. More student loan cancellations." So not only are we going to see more people getting their loans canceled for a variety of reasons, but I feel like there's going to be some stream of money or some joint effort to stream resources to teachers and school systems that need the most help. And I don't feel like this is just a Democratic message. Again, I'm getting a feeling like what was left of the Republican Party that wasn't extreme, they're merging with Democrats. And maybe we just saw that in the last reading as a possible Democratic Speaker of the House. And we're moving together in order to get some things done. And I feel education, maybe because it is summer and it's a time, as a former teacher, I know it's a time of reflection. It's a time for professional development. It's a time to prepare for the next year. And maybe this is the time countrywide that we're doing a giant reflection on how schools have been struggling since COVID. I mean, they were already teetering on the edge in many communities. Then you had COVID. We're definitely seeing behavior changes in the students. We're seeing teachers overwhelmed. We have a teacher shortage. We have attacks against teachers. And we also have a student loan debt problem. So I think this is coming to a head in July, and we're really going to look at those issues. Another huge issue in the news will be the environment. Now, again, I just done a video for June where we're seeing things heating up. June is hot. And this is a variety of things that are happening between seismic shifts and fires and rising temperatures as we move into the summer period. In July, we're going to be in the heart of the summer and the heart of the heat. And it's when it heats up that people that feel the environmental impact the most. And we're going to see storms that arise from these hot temperatures. Everything from hurricanes, tornadoes, strange microbursts, all of it. What I wrote was, world leaders may be uniting again to discuss the environment. At the very least, I feel Americans will discuss this on the campaign trail. So both sides seem to be looking at this more seriously, and I do keep feeling a sense of international collaboration. Now, I don't know in reality if there are already meetings planned on an international front, so you can tell me in the comments if there are, but there may be some spontaneous meetings that have arisen out of recent, let's call it environmental upheaval and things that need to be addressed immediately. And these issues may form spontaneous international relations related to the environment. MAGA. got MAGA as lost puppy dogs in the month of July. I wrote, as if I was someone who followed Trump. Truth is upside down. What is true? What has been promised has not come to fruition. It was all entertainment. We are not winning. But I also got, there's still anger and a need for vengeance. So there's this confusion, this sense of, okay, now everyone's saying the same message. And I kind of feel that way. I think once trials get started and certain things come out in the news about Trump, especially after the fall of Putin, even Fox News has to get on that bandwagon. It's too much. The cash cow is gone. All right. So the donors have to get behind a new cash cow. And that old message is going to be switched up. Now, we've already seen that a little bit, especially with Fox News. But this will be even more so. For a brief shining moment, we might actually be on the same page about certain issues. And they're going to be so confused because they're following one message and that person's not stopping what he's saying. Right? Trump's still going to be doing Trump if he's still here. And they're so confused. Well, now they're realizing, oh, where was that wall? Why didn't you do this? Why didn't you do that? You promised us. So there's going to be a lot of questioning, a lot of confusion, and just anger, vengeance. But who do I lash out at? Our leader? Because I'm angry he didn't follow through? Because I'm angry because he used us? Or do I just continue to throw my anger out at the world and my perceived enemies? It's going to be an interesting time for them. For Trump, I hear now a dead leader. And I don't know if this is literal or not. I'm getting almost two paths here, to be honest. I feel like that either those heart issues that I had gotten in previous videos, if those issues go to an extreme, there's a possibility that he may not be here. But mostly I'm getting he may be here, but in some way he's being separated from us. For the MAGA folks, I got this. Now a dead leader. For some, he is perpetually frozen in perfection. A sleeping hero who will return in a time of need, like King Arthur. The myth of the king. King Arthur is wounded by his son and retreats to an island to die, to return someday in a time of need. This seems to be a metaphor, implying that some fatal blows legally could come through his own children. So I did get that image. Now, there are two ways I could read this. Either his children, like Ivanka, Jr., Eric, because they are forced in a trial situation, and they tell everything that they need to. It's save myself, and there is a deadly blow to him in a legal sense, and we're all going to hear it. The other way that I'm seeing family is his family of donors, his family of elite members, his connections to Russia, allegedly, right? These connections, his family, his protectors, his group, his tribe, it's all been severed by this time. And so there is some sense that that's a deadly blow to him as well. And MAGA, they can't let go. They are the followers because they put him so high on a pedestal. Trump was their king, literally king, not president, king, a man closest to God, divine rights of kings, right? God speaks directly to the kings and then the kings to the people. They are the peasants. Following their king was a direct line with God. That's literally how they see him in this cult. That somehow I see Trump going away and them thinking, I'm going to think of him as at his greatest moment, when he was the strongest, when he was coming down that elevator and he called the Mexicans rapists and said he was going to go after Hillary. And when we were winning, they're going to perpetually freeze him in those moments, in those early days. And they're going to remember him and they'll be like, it's okay. He has to go away right now, but he's going to come back. He'll come back when we need him. It's really sad. But it's also implying that he's going away in some sense. I wrote, I can't rule out Trump living outside the U.S. Trump is captured and then abandoned. So I got that image. I feel he is isolated by our own government. There is no escape. Accept your fate, is what I heard. Accept your fate. And there's a sense he needs to. It's over. He's been captured and abandoned. So I feel like this is a sense of he doesn't have anyone to help him now. And I keep feeling he's not in a foreign country because he skipped the country and he's living in the lap of luxury in Saudi Arabia or something like that. Although I did get him thinking he might want to do that. That was one of his plans, plan B, plan C. But what I'm feeling more is that he may be offshore or in a place off the mainland in isolation. Now, I know we do have prison systems for political prisoners that are outside the United States. I don't know if this is something that's new, that's built just for him, but I do get a sense the government needs to keep him safe, which I feel, this isn't like, oh, he's been sentenced and imprisoned, although I can't rule that out either because there could be a trial that may finish by now. But I feel like it's more that, no, we have to isolate him now, even though trials may be ongoing. We see the rape, exploitation, abuse of land and resources and people. Trump is impoverished, inside and out. I'm overwhelmed, I keep feeling. Issues with his taxes will be highlighted in July. He is not loyal, I keep hearing. It is all ending. It is also unfair. And then I get isolation again. Trump has been isolated. Dark night of the soul. Solitude. A monastic life. He is being isolated or protected from outside attacks outside the U.S. There are some delays around his trials in light of this issue. Foreign interference. I know this is kind of strange, and I was actually surprised when I got it. But I'm not getting cards, and I wasn't getting images of him being imprisoned because of punishment. But I do get him feeling isolated, like I can't be part of the Republican convention if he's even the nominee, because I keep getting that before this, that half of the party is going with someone else. I'm not getting him as part of the typical convention nominee situation. I get him isolated for his own protection. And there seem to be outside threats that are arising that are actually slowing down the trial situations. And I know there are many trials that are supposed to come to light during that period. And there are definite delays there as they figure out what to do about this situation. That could be why MAGA was thinking, okay, we're going to remember him at his strongest point. He will be back when we need him. This is only temporary. He's going away. It could be because he's being isolated for his own protection. I get Trump saying, I am out of the loop. And I feel like that's part of what's going on with the regular campaign cycle. I'm out of the loop. I don't know what's going on. I'm not part of the rhythm right now. And then I got an image from the story To Build a Fire by Jack London. In the story, for those of you who don't know it, there's a man up in the North Country. It may have been Alaska. I can't remember exactly. And he got himself wet. And when you're wet in those extreme conditions, you have to build a fire immediately. You have to get dry. You have to get warm. or you're going to die of hypothermia. And in this story, he's not able to build a fire fast enough. And at one point, he even thinks about killing his own dog to actually warm himself up within his skin. And then eventually the man passes away and the dog realizes, oh, he's gone and he's not going to build a fire. And then the ending scene is the dog just walks away and looks for another human who will feed him. I think the dog is representing Trump's followers, showing how MAGA is just, a lot of them are just going to turn for a new leader or a new donor, a new follower. It depends on what you're trying to get out of this situation. There are a lot of reasons why Trump had followers. There are different levels of followers. You had the masses, but you also had a lot of people who were benefiting from Trump, who were using him as a cash cow, using his power so that they could benefit. And I feel like those people are just walking away. I wrote, the family moves on. Despair, torment, trapped in an emotional maze of fear and drama. And this could literally be his family, who may have hit him with the final betrayal, releasing information he never thought that they would release. And then they just walk away because he can no longer benefit them. Even though we might have had a bond, you know, this is kill or be killed. This is the brutality of nature. This is something primal. And that's what I was getting here. It's like, well, time to move on. It's very cold. I get Trump's guides are ready to assist, but he must ask. He must listen for the answers. And then I wrote, they wait, blocked. In a spiritual sense, he could help himself. Even in these darkest moments, his guides are assigned to him to protect him, to help steer him in the right direction. But he won't listen. He just blocks everything out. Biden has come up much differently. I get that this month, Biden will have some of his finest moments. And again, I keep getting a speech. I know it's not the convention. Democratic convention is in August. There is some speech that I'm getting for the American people. I wrote, decisions made now will affect the next 7 generations. New solutions to old problems begin to emerge. But I'm still stressed, restless, and anxious. We are all tired, so very tired. Biden will guide us during this time through knowledge and wisdom accumulated. New ideas, a new start. Biden calls for unity. He calls for the Dems to unite with the new Republican Party. Join forces. We have some difficult decisions to make. We need the courage to move forward with action. So there's some call here, a call for unification. The new Republican Party has emerged, and maybe they're just trying to find their sea legs. We don't know if we can trust them. That's why I'm still anxious. That's why I'm restless. I don't know. I don't know. We can trust them at all. But I feel Biden is going to call it. He's going to say, look what they're doing. They're trying. We need to solve these problems together. They need to be part of the solutions. If they're not part of the solutions, then we're no longer a nation. And it's so hard. But I feel like that call is going to go out in July. And that's why this will be remembered as one of Biden's finest moments. Because in a time when our country could split even more, dangerously so, he is going to, through his words, rile us back together. Honestly, this is going to be on par in history. This call, this speech that I see, kind of on par with, say, the Gettysburg Address with Lincoln. I feel like, yeah, maybe not right off you would think about it, but 100 years down the road, you will read the speech. And it will be one of those moments, those presidential speeches that we study in school. The final message that I have for all of us in July is this. We look at our shadow as a nation. We bear witness. What you hate in others is what you hate about yourself. Americans, hold up the mirror. Embrace what you see, even with all your darker facets. This is what will, in time, make you a great nation on a level you have yet to experience collectively. Manifest a new world. And that is my message for July 2024. I think it's going to be a time where Trump is isolated from the masses, where real issues that affect the American people are looked at seriously, and where we are called to look at the new Republican Party that is emerging and may be emerging during the convention at this time, to see them as part of us, to see them as part of the solutions we will come up with in the future, and we will be called as Americans to come together as one. I'm looking forward to seeing what comes up in August. That will be the time of the Democratic Convention. We'll see what happens. In the meantime, if you enjoyed this video, please like, subscribe, share this video with all of your friends. As always, I'm so appreciative of your business, your comments, and your donations. You are all awesome. As always, it's a pleasure reading for you. Bye-bye.